Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about files. Files are important because engineers often work with data. Sometimes you'll be running a simulation and the simulation will output some data. Maybe somebody shares with you some data. So what I'd like to look at today is how to read information from a file that has some data to it. So the way we do this is we're going to work with files kind of like the way we worked with cin and cout. So cin was a way to read information from the keyboard, and cout was a way to write information to the command window. With files, we're going to read information from a file and we're going to write information to a file. But luckily the C++ commands to do that are similar. Okay, so the first thing we need to be able to do is to open a file, and to do that we need to create, this is a new command, we have to create not an integer, not a float, but something of type input file stream or IF stream. To be able to use this, you'll have to include the F stream at the top of the file. So I'm giving this IF stream a name. You could call it anything you want. I'm calling it my file, and it has a constructor that takes the name of the file as an input. This file would have to be in the same directory that you're working with. Okay, in this case the file is called sundata.txt, and it represents, and I've got it pulled up right here, this sundata.txt file represents the amount of sunlight for each day of the year at a particular location. So it's 7 hours of sunlight, 8 hours of sunlight, 4 hours of sunlight, 11 hours of sunlight, etc. Okay, so somebody has shared with us this file. Okay, we'd like to open it, so this statement here will open that file, and now I'd like to read from it. And this file has 365 lines, so I've set up a loop that will, let me get rid of this for now. I've set up a loop that will run 365 times. That should not be new to you. What's new here is that I'm going to use the my file the same way I would have used the cin. So if I wanted to read from the keyboard and save the value as X, I would use cin and then these redirect arrows. All I need to do is replace the cin with my file, and that will redirect the input from my file. Instead of from the keyboard, it'll come from my file and save that as X. Okay, in order for me to know that it was successful, we'll have to print it out. So let's print out to the command window the hours of daylight, which in this case would be saved as X. And this should do this 365 times, and then at the end this should close the file. So it's good practice after you've opened a file to, when you're done working with it, to close it. So you type the name of your, remember my file is not the name of the file. My file is the name of the input file stream. So I'm going to use the function close that is associated with that object. Okay, so we'll click save, and then we'll compile it, and then the way you run it would be to just type, you would just type A or whatever output file you'd saved it as. I'm in a Linux system here, so I'm going to, same as those who have Macs would be typing the same thing as me. So I'll run it, and it prints out the information I got from the file, but with this nice hours of daylight tag in front of it. Okay, so before you go any further, see if you can do this.